and the 2025 Jackson College Martin Luther King Jr. Medal of Service recipient, Lee Hampton. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Following your lead, you won the award or was the recipient, and then later me.
Well, you followed your father's lead too.
Right.
And I thought that was really cool. You mentioned your mom, and then obviously sacrifice was a word that came up quite a bit throughout the evening. You talked about your mother's sacrifice, similar to your wife.
Absolutely, absolutely. My mom had this awesome career laid out, and she walked away from it to raise 11 children. And my wife was super smart, much smarter than I am, kind of like your wives are with you. She done the same thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You told a story about your mom, who was part of the welcoming committee for Dr. King when he came and gave a speech at Cobo many, many years ago. Actually, the I Have a Dream speech before he gave it in Washington.
Now, there was no official committee, but the way it worked was the black leaders of Detroit had to get the funding together and the resource. Aretha Franklin's father and my mother, she was the administrator at the black hospital. So she signed the checks, she arranged everything. And at the same time, when they were all getting together to bring Dr. King to come, she was the lead of the whole entire hospital. And she walked away from all of that to support my father. Many times you give people recognitions and you say, he did this, but you really don't know. It'll be like somebody saying that Bart Hawley built JTV when we all know Karen really did.
That's right.
Come on.
You're exactly right.
Come on.
What is
she's
this?
the one that calls us, and she's the one that calls the funders to make sure the money comes in. She makes sure, she called me about 10 minutes ago and said, are you going to be here while you just sitting here on air? So we got to honor Karen as well.
Well, we were worried you weren't here yet.
Come on.
It was obviously a very busy weekend for you, but I want to ask you, it felt like it was kind of like a family night for you. What did this award mean to you and your family?
You know what? You couldn't have said it better, because me being the 11th of 11 children, not only did my parents pour into me, but every one of my siblings took me as their baby. And everything I've ever done in my life, in my career, they've all got behind me and pushed me out front. So just as I gave my wife honor, I also give my siblings a whole lot of honor, because they really pushed me ahead to make sure that I was okay.
Yeah, between your 11 siblings and your 9 kids, you took up about 8 tables.
Carl Breeding said one time, he said, if you ever decide to run for office, you're going to be okay because you got your family in the Church of God, because they were also there.
That's right.
A lot of parishioners were there.
Yeah, that was great that they were able to be part of that. And really, what a great night. Hats off to Jackson College and everyone that worked so hard to put this great evening together. Really was a great tribute to Dr. King. And you didn't use the word I at all in your talk. You talked about your dad, your mom, your family, Dr. King, and you made a note of the fact that the slaves from Africa, the enslaved from Africa, first arrived in Hampton, Virginia. And I don't think that was lost on the audience that you made that connection.
Right. Absolutely, and that was just speaking on the scripture in Micah that said, what does the Lord require of thee? And he said to walk justly, love mercy, and to walk humbly before thy God. The first thing God said he requires of all humanity is to walk justly, or to do justly. And that means to do that which is just, or to right wrongs or injustices. And I was so fortunate in my career to be able to spend my time, because of the slave industry, injustices and outcomes came. Financial, you couldn't get houses in a certain area, you couldn't go to certain schools. So I was able to spend my career to kind of right that wrong. And I said that George Wallace College, that one of the last things I've ever did in my academic career, they called me and said that the academic outcome between the black students and whites are so far apart. Could you come down and help us create strategies like we did with Mid-America to close those achievement gaps? And it was just ironic that I ended my career helping undo. And now George Wallace, he did have a shift. Early in his life, he was really a segregationist, strong racist, but later on, he did shift to be more of a humanitarian. and that's where the college is honored after him. But the impact of those early decisions were still lingering. Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked that there is a George
Yeah,
Wallace
I'd
College.
never heard that.
Right, absolutely.
It was maybe the first thing you would suggest is change the name.
Right, absolutely. But I think they're honoring the fact that he shifted, he repented publicly,
Sure.
said, I'm so sorry for the things that I've done, so I think they helped his legacy.
You brought some facts and trivia along.
Come on, absolutely.
Usually it's best basketball players, things like that. Not today.
No, not today. We're sticking with Dr. King. Want to honor Dr. King and all of his legacy. So those that can call in or those that you can give them to your guests, we're going to start out easier and then we'll go a little harder. If they can name the city that Dr. King was assassinated in, and for a bonus, the name of the hotel or motel.
Well, can I?
Yeah, you go ahead.
It was Memphis.
Let's go.
That's right.
Absolutely. That's right.
Yeah.
The bonus?
I don't know the name of the hotel.
Yep. It was the Lorraine Motel.
Okay.
The Lorraine Motel. Yep. I took a group of students from Jackson to visit it. We stood at the spot in which he was shot with Jesse Jackson and Abernathy and different ones with him that time. All right. The second one is, what was Dr. King's birth name?
Ooh, his birth name.
Yep. He wasn't born Martin Luther King. His father went on a spiritual pilgrimage to Europe, and he met the famous, the place where the famous Reformation leader Martin Luther was born. And he was so moved by that experience, he came home and changed his name.
Legally changed his
name. Yeah, from Michael Luther King to Martin Luther King. Yeah.
MLK Jr. changed his name?
MLK Sr. changed his name and his son's name to Martin Luther King in honor of the great reformer.
Never knew that.
Yeah, but I didn't know it. And lastly, come on, Dr. King, lastly, how did Martin Luther King's mother die?
His mother.
His mother passed away the same way he did.
No.
Yes, assassination.
Really?
1974, 21-year-old Michael Chestnut from Ohio went down. She was playing the piano. Amazing grace, how sweet. The 21-year-old white young man from Ohio walked down the aisle, walked up to her and assassinated her and said, all Christians are evil. Yeah, and she died later that day.
Amazing.
So it's just amazing that his father dealt with so much grief. He had a child earlier that passed away. Then Martin Luther King was assassinated, and then
Even into the
6 years
70s,
later, his wife was assassinated.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't know that, but I'm also surprised that it's not well known.
Right. Yeah.
This town does a good job honoring the life and legacy of Dr. King.
I think it's second to none. Seriously, I think with the various events, the breakfast, with the dinner, I believe that even the various things that many of us don't even know about, Spring Harbor and other college or high schools do their own things. Shirley Pitts, she would go around with the Black History Tour group, and that was like world famous. That started really because of MLK and Black History Month. So Jackson has done an amazing job. And I didn't get a chance the other day because I felt I would have been all over the place and you all couldn't have made it to the Lions game or got ready for church. And I wanted to honor you all personally because every single thing that I've ever done from day one, when you really didn't even know me, you all supported with vigor. And it wasn't just token. I've seen many times when people deal with social justice or diversity issues, I've seen it. It's just a token. It's just to say, but you all have went above and beyond to help the Black community, especially helping injustices to make sure we all have a seat at the table. And I would have been here all night if I'd done that. Then I would have got in trouble because right after that, other people, and honestly, I feel that I've been very blessed by Jackson. I'm a son of Jackson because Patty would call or we would talk and she'd be like, Lee, what do you need, Patty Poppy? What do you need? Well, I got friends that work at Consumers. Never been in a room with her, but it was just like, Lee, yeah, absolutely, we can elaborate. Or Georgia. You know, Charles Anderson took me to the back room of Henry Ford Allegiance, Georgia, said, whatever you need, however we can help the community. And their position now, Chief Diversity Officer, that was created from a meeting that we just had in our office, just discussing ways to, and I can go on, sit pat, Eileen, you know, Leonard, they would calm me down early in my career and just say, absolutely. And you know, Dr. Wade and all the relationship we had with the media, Greg O'Connor, he would sit there and give a whole show and say, nope, you just stay here. And I just felt, you know, that I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity personally to thank you, your wife, your children. It was almost as if you all adopted me and my career to partner with me to do the things I've done. So I'm so grateful for all you've done for me.
Wow, thank you very
Lee.
much. Yeah, we appreciate that. And we appreciate you being here today.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great weekend of celebration and a great honor for the pastor of Jackson's Church of God, the Martin Luther King Jr. Medal of Service recipient, Lee Hampton. More of the morning show after this.